Shalom, shalom, peace, peace, and blessings to everyone. Welcome to the Fourth Angels Learning Center. My name is Jadiel. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, joining us with our class. Today, we're going to be on part 5 of our 7-point series, the 7 points of atonement, where we can understand a little bit more about self-examining ourselves in order to get ourselves reconciled back to Yah or connected to Yah to the point where we're unmovable, whether it's maturing our relationship with Yah or if this is the very first time you are desiring to get close to Yah, this is definitely still beneficial to that walk, to that interaction, that relationship, So we did go through quite a few points already, 4 points about establishing trust, faith by remembering not only the things that he has done in the past for others, the things that he's done in the past for those in the scriptures, but the things that he's done in the past for us as well, to remember all the things that he's blessed us with, saved us from, delivered us from, strengthened us in, so there's so many aspects that brings us to that remembrance, to establish that he is going to work on our behalf at this time, that he is going to do what he says at this time as well. The second one was to commit all your ways. We saw that this was quite interesting because the word commit actually means to move something out of the way in order to take advantage or take occasion for something. So what we saw using this word for was to remove any hindrance out of the way that will prevent you from coming to him or obeying him and take advantage of the opportunity to obey his word, the things that you know to do. After establishing faith, after repentance, the things that you know to do, move everything that will hinder you to do those things. Get rid of all those things that will hinder you to do the things that you know. Don't worry about the things that you do not know. The things that you do know, you need to execute. You need to obey. And the simplicity and obedience of the things that you do know in order to see and prove Yah and be able to see the manifestation of the blessings of that obedience. Part 3 was about submitting to his ways. And sometimes people think that committing all of your ways and obedience is the same as submitting to his ways. Is actually different. And we went through it, and I think that it's a pretty good study. Go check it out if you haven't already. But it's an emphasis on not doing what you know, but receiving from Yah the things that he asked you to receive. The fourth aspect was to be afflicted, and not afflicted in a way where you're afflicted by outside sources, where things are attacking you or persecuting you, but being afflicted within the heart and mind, being afflicted as I would say, think and remember all the things that we've done in order to bring pain to Yah, the things that we've done that hurt people around us, the people that we love, the things that we've done to destroy our own selves and our own mind that Yah delivered us from. Now, the thing is, it's not to be afflicted in a sense where we're feeling sorry for ourselves or we're walking around depressed. It's more of a opportunity to kind of reflect, so that way you can make sure you don't go back in this same situation again. So that's also very important for us to grasp as well. So today we're going to be dealing with the fifth point, which is dealing with being thankful. And this is going to be pretty interesting. Some of the principles that is connected to the idea or the principle of being thankful and being content, and why this is so important for our self-examination. So we're going to get started. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody, if you want to support this ministry, push us forward in our efforts to spread this truth, you can also support us on 4alc.com. You can also support us at Cash App, which is $4ALC bless. That's 4ALC BLESS. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe, click the notification, like the video, as well as share the video so that way other people can be blessed as well. So without further ado, let's get involved. Let's get into this study. I think this is very important. It's very important to be thankful in all things. But there's a certain aspect of being thankful that's so important that we're going to bring out. Let's start with Psalms. Let me see if I could pull up my scriptures here. We're going to start in the book of Psalms, chapter 107. Psalms 107. We're going to look at verse 1. And it says, "Give thanks unto yahuah, because he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Let the redeemed of yahuah say so, whom he have redeemed from the hand of the enemy." Now remember, this is a 7 points of atonement. And atonement is an emphasis on redemption as well. It's an emphasis on not only redemption, but an aspect of freedom of our debt and reconciliation to Yah. So when it says, "Let the redeemed of Yah say so," say what? As we give thanks, it's not just a matter of just saying how thankful he is, but understanding that he is good, that his mercy endures forever, and that we are projecting to everyone else the compassion, the mercy, the goodness that he's shown to us. This is how we give thanks. This is how we manifest to the world who Yah is. And this is how we show that he has redeemed. This is how many people understand. He has redeemed from the hand of the enemy. And there's many aspects of that redemption. This is where we get our trust from. We establish this trust because he's redeemed us or delivered us many times in our situations. And we ought not forget those situations. We ought not forget those times. Giving thanks is very important to the mind. It allows the mind to focus on the things that is necessary in order to be content. It allows us to focus and not give any room to anything else. I think this is very important for us to understand as well. But let's move forward before we get to that point. Psalms chapter 119. Psalms 119, we're going to look at verse 62. So look at what it says. It says, "At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto you because of your righteous judgments. I am a companion of all them that fear you and of them that keep your precepts." See, the mind wanders. The enemy causes us distractions in order to doubt and to fix our mind on something other than the things that Yah has done. Sometimes when we're waiting on Yah, that's like a big trial for some of us, where Yah is setting things up in order to deliver us, setting things up in order to cause us to prosper, setting us up in order for us to become stronger, to go through situations to become stronger, in order to handle something that Yah sees is coming in the long run. But many times while we're waiting, while we're becoming strengthened, while we're exercising our faith and exercising our obedience, there's this temptation in our mind to doubt in between the time, to focus on what we do not have or what has not been done already. And this is something that Yah has executed for his people from the beginning. The flesh loves to crave. The flesh loves to crave what it doesn't have. The Israelites were in the wilderness. It talks about this in Deuteronomy 8, how he allowed them to be hungry before he fed them. When he allowed them to be hungry, they were supposed to develop this understanding. Like, I remember what you just did for me. I remember the parting of the Red Sea. I remember the deliverance from Egypt. I remember the plagues falling on our behalf. So when he allowed them to be hungry, it was supposed to develop this pursuit, develop a desire for us to run after the things that we have, the things that Yah has proven himself to be faithful in doing, which is to provide. So many times it ended up in the worst way. Many times it ended up with complaining and murmuring about the things that we did not have, rather than thankfulness and contentment, thankfulness for the things that he has done, and that strengthening of belief, that strengthening of trust, to know that he is going to provide. And even asking for the impossible as well. This is what they've done. So this is so important for us, because we have to have this mindset, a consistent mindset of thankfulness. This thankfulness helps us with to being content in everything that we have. You cannot be thankful. You cannot be thankful for everything that Yah has done constantly. We just read that in the middle of the night, David gives thanks. We need to be giving thanks at all times, and we're going to see why. That giving thanks doesn't allow room for complaining and murmuring. Constantly purposefully acknowledging the things that Yah has done does not leave room for fear, doubt, complaining, and murmuring. And I'm speaking from experience. The times when I'm feeling fearful is when I begin to become thankful. I execute thankfulness. And in becoming thankful, Yah comforts me in the things that he has done. Then I begin to walk and execute, just walking in belief, walking in trust, and Yah all the time comes through. In every aspect of my life. He's involved in everything that I do. So this is what he desires from all of his people. Let's go back to that verse, right? It says, at midnight I rise to give thanks unto you because of your righteous judgments. Let's go to Psalms 140. Psalms 140, I believe is verse 13. It says, surely the righteous shall give thanks unto your name. It says, the upright shall dwell in your presence. You see this consistent dwelling in Yah's word, the consistent dwelling in prayer, the consistent dwelling in thankfulness. He's saying that the righteous give thanks. The righteous dwells in his presence. The righteous keeps our mind fixed on him. Let's go to a few more. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians. And then I want to go to, I believe it's in Romans. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. We're going to look at verse 18. Look at what it says. In everything give thanks. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of Elohim in Messiah Yahushua concerning you. Giving thanks is the will of Elohim. This is interesting. This is the will of Elohim, to give thanks. Why is it? Not only giving thanks, of course, praying without ceasing, in everything giving thanks. So obviously this is a part of the prayer that we're doing nonstop. But this is the will of Elohim in Messiah Yahushua concerning us, to give thanks in everything that we do. It allows us to deviate from the things, the temptations that the enemy is bringing us to, focusing on what we don't have, bringing out covetousness, bringing out greed, evil desire, bringing out fears, and selfish ambitions. Like, I'm going to do this myself because Yah is not doing this. This has happened a lot of times. In the time of Abraham, the reason why Ishmael even is born, even existed, is because of this fear, this mental fear that Yah would not accomplish what he promised to accomplish with the promised seed, to the point where they tried to obtain the promised seed themselves by their own actions, their own pursuits, their own plans, and in turn not only messed up the condition of the home, the relationship between Hagar and his wife Sarah, but the pain that it caused, now having to give his son or tell his son to leave, the pain that it caused his son not being able to enter into the covenant promise with the promised seed that Yah told him to wait for. So because they wanted to accomplish this task, and that time was that Satan took advantage of that time in between, just I believe it was about 25 years, because he was 75 when he started his walk with Yah, and then he didn't have Isaac until he was 100. So in between that, around 80 something, 85, 80, 80, 85, 86, he had Ishmael. I think it was, around 88 or 87, 88, he had Ishmael. When Isaac was born, he was around 13. Ishmael was around 13 years old when Isaac was born. So just the pain. You have a son, you love your son, you desire your son to be blessed by Yah, you desire your son to be in this place that Yah promised for your son to be, and instead Yah is saying, no, this is not the one that I promised. This is based off of your acts and your desires and your fears. They needed to be focused, they needed to be trusting, they needed to be thankful, they needed to see how much that Yah delivered into their hands, all the things that Yah delivered them out of, the blessings. In Genesis chapter 13, it says Abraham was rich. The land that he promised in Genesis chapter 13? He promised in Genesis 13, I'm going to give you all the land that you see. He promised them children of the sand of the sea. He delivered those 5 kings into his hand. He got blessed by Melchizedek. And then, he lost faith. He lost trust because he did not continuously fill his mind with thankfulness. He did not constantly focus his mind on contentment with what Yah has done at the moment. Even though he has not received the son, he was supposed to be content with what Yah was doing at the moment. But after that moment, after that time and that transition and that pain and all that stuff with the transition between Ishmael to Isaac, he waited. He waited that last year. He waited without budging. He did not deviate. He did not alter his thoughts or anything like that. He was faithful. And he expressed himself and dedicated his mind to being faithful to what Yah said a year before Isaac was born. So this thankfulness, this contentment prevents all of those things. It prevents making these horrible choices that would now we have to call on Yah to help fix up, turn things around for us and go back in the same path that we walked away from. So thankfulness and being content helps us in being content in what Yah is doing at the moment. It helps us to be content in what Yah wants us to perform. And it helps us be content in the way that things are at the moment. So that way, when things change, we can move forward with that trust, with that faithfulness. Let me see. There's a very important aspect of thankfulness that I want to point out in the book of Romans. I believe it's in chapter 1. This is pertaining to the wicked individuals that took Yah's word and twisted it up and made it into a lie. Look at what it says here, right? And I just want to make an emphasis on the fact that these people knew. So look at this. It says the wrath of Elohim is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men. And then look at this, who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Not people that don't have the truth, and people that have the truth, but hold it in unrighteousness. So we're going to see what that means. All right. It says, because that which may be known of Elohim is manifest in them. Meaning that what Yah wanted everyone else to know, he gave to these people. And for Elohim showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and divinehood or divinity, so that they are without excuse. Look at what it says. It says, because that when they knew Elohim, so these people know Elohim, they know him. He revealed himself to them. He showed them. It says, when they knew Elohim, they glorified him not as Elohim. And watch this. Neither were they thankful. They did not glorify him as Elohim, and they were not thankful of the things that he has done. But they became vain in their imaginations, just like Israelites. When Israelites was not thankful after he showed himself to them, showed his power in a supernatural way. This is talking about nature. It's talking about supernatural way. Israel became vain in their imaginations because they were not thankful. They did not glorify him, and they were foolish. Their foolish heart was darkened. They professed themselves to be wise, which we see today, and they became fools, which we see today. They changed the glory of uncorruptible Elohim into the image of a corruptible man, mostly. Many people are not using birds, four-footed beasts, and creeping things anymore. Many people are just twisting Elohim's image into these false leaders' image. You know, sometimes you have these horrible imagery. Anyway, we're going to keep it moving. It says, wherefore Elohim gave them up to uncleanness through their own desires of their hearts to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. So going back up, it says that they knew Elohim, they did not glorify him as Elohim, and they were not thankful of the things that he has done. And because they were not thankful and glorified him, they became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. So thankfulness it plays such a big role, even in the mindset and the transformation of a person that is with Yah, a person that is beside Yah, to a person that is rebellious, to a person that is wicked, to a person that twists the truth to reveal and manifest his own vain thoughts and his own vain ideas. Thankfulness is extremely important in order for us to maintain our contentment, because we're constantly thinking about what Yah has done for us. And because we are constantly thinking about what Yah has done for us, we're constantly in a grateful, thankful mindset. And when we are grateful and thankful, we are content in the things that we have. We don't complain and murmur about the things that we do not have. All right. So thankfulness is one of the points of uniting yourself with Yah in atonement. It's the fifth point of atonement. And I hope that this was a blessing to everyone listening. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next study. Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Thank you guys for joining our study today. I hope that it was edifying. And if you want to support this ministry, you can support us on 4alc.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube page. Click the like button and the notification bell. I hope to see you guys on the next study. Shalom, guys.